What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm actually going to be talking about the top 6 Sephora foundations and what skin type they are good for and who they are for. I'm not 100% sure if these are the top selling foundation, but these were foundations that were always being used when I worked at Sephora, and you see them on their bestsellers list and things like that. So I picked these because these were the most popular in my Sephora store where I worked. When I first started at Sephora, learning foundations and who they're for and what to recommend to different people, I felt like that part was the hardest to learn just because there's so many different people and it was hard to kind of just know what every foundation did and what it was good for and then apply it to people that wanted it or needed it. So all of this is what I found as I was working at Sephora. These are the foundations that I would recommend or I found that worked best with certain skin types. But just a disclaimer, everyone is different, and a foundation that I'm saying that might work for someone might also work for you, and you might not be the same skin type. It depends on who you are, your skin, what you've tried and what you like. If you like one of these foundations and I said something that you don't agree with, it'll be okay. If you're feeling like you're getting boiled up inside and you really need to lash out on the keyboard at me in the comment section, you need to take a deep breath and go find something else to do, okay? So the first foundation I'm going to be talking about is the Too Faced Born This Way foundation. This foundation was one of my favorites to work with because it is very versatile. It can work for a lot of people, so it works for people with dry skin, normal skin, oily skin. It just works. It is oil-free, so therefore it's not adding more oil to someone who's already oily. It's not going to give that oily look, but it also is a hydrating foundation, so it has hyaluronic acid in it. It's just like a natural substance that holds like so much more times its weight in water. So it's very, very hydrating. If you're stuck and you just want a foundation, you don't want to think too much about it, this is a really good foundation to try out. It's not matte, but I wouldn't say it's really, really dewy because it is oil-free. But it is a nice natural finish. So it looks like your skin essentially, and I love it. It's great. It's a good foundation. Something I will say about this foundation line is very, very yellow tone. So aside from like the first two colors, which is like Snow and Pearl, I believe, the rest are super yellow. So if you have a red undertone, it's probably not going to work for you. It's probably going to look way too yellow. They're very, very, very yellow tone foundations. I would usually recommend it more for people with dry skin, normal skin. It would look beautiful. It doesn't catch on to flaky skin, things like that. Like it literally just like moistens your face, which is really nice. Wouldn't generally recommend it to people with oily skin, although it is not like the worst deal in the world. It's a pretty versatile foundation, just better for people with normal to dry skin. Next, I'm going to be talking about the Kat Von D Lock-It Foundation. This foundation is really, really popular, especially with a younger crowd, because who doesn't want Kat Von D? And it is one of the most full coverage foundations. This foundation was 20 to 25% pigment, like somewhere in there. I can't quite remember. So it's very, very pigmented, very full coverage, but it is matte. So it looks better on people with oily skin. It complements their skin a little bit more because it's going to help control the oil. But if you really like that matte, like flat look, this foundation is really good. And if you're really trying to cover something up, this foundation works well. A lot of the times I would use this foundation for people who are oily and really, really want full coverage, and tattoo covers. Like it helps cover tattoos, which is really, really nice. Another thing I really liked about this foundation was that it had a lot of colors. The undertones I found were pretty good, except for the really darker colors. They're pretty red, I would say. She has a couple of neutral colors in there, but I'd say most of them are really, really red. I found on dry skin, this foundation didn't look good. Like it will look cracky. It's just gonna make your skin look dry. And that's just how it's going to be. So if you have dry skin and you're looking for a fuller coverage foundation, this might not be the one for you. I would try to stay away from this one, but it is still a really nice foundation for certain people. Another foundation that was really popular where I worked, or in general at Sephora's, is the Makeup Forever Ultra HD foundation. This foundation is medium to buildable, so it starts off medium and then you can add more layers for more coverage, but I wouldn't say it completely goes to full coverage. I would say it's medium, but you can build on certain areas, but it won't go to like full like Kat Von D level coverage. It is a natural finish, but this was like a debate me and some other girls had throughout the store. It was like a 50-50 kind of deal. I think the foundation, like as I used it, had a dry down factor. I don't think it was really dewy. Like it dries down, but it's not like 100% matte, like where it looks really dry. So it's natural, but it has like a dry down factor. I really like this foundation because it was so versatile. It works for almost everyone. You could have dry skin, normal skin, green skin. Like it just works. A lot of the times I would go to it for people who don't want to wear a lot of makeup but still want a little bit of coverage. People who have freckles and don't want them to be covered up too much. People who don't want to put too much thought into their foundation and just want to get one. People who have trouble finding different shades. Makeup Forever, I have a lot of respect for their foundation shades. They did a really good job with providing different undertones and different shades that work for a lot of people. So if you know you have trouble finding your shades, go to Makeup Forever, and worst case scenario, you can't find your shade, you can mix two together and make your shade, and therefore you would have more foundation in the long run. It would last you longer. But I really, really like this foundation. And the thing about Makeup Forever, anything that is claimed to be Ultra HD is made to be in front of a camera. So say you're going to a wedding, this foundation is going to be perfect. You won't be able to tell you're wearing foundation. That's a cool fact. Makeup Forever, anything that says Ultra HD is meant to be in front of the camera, but it's definitely meant for dry, normal, combination skin types. It definitely works. I find with the combination, because it has that dry down factor, it does help control the oil a little bit, but not like extensively. It also has hyaluronic acid in it, which is going to really help hydrate your normal dry or combination skin. Because fun little fact, combination skin, if you are having an oily T-zone, it means you're dehydrated. So they're trying to put the moisture back into your skin, and it just helps it. Next, I'm going to be talking about the Tarte Amazonian Clay Full Coverage Foundation. So this foundation was pretty popular too, but more popular with clients than it was with the workers. It says it's full coverage, but I think it's more of a medium and you have to build it if you want more. This foundation is clay based, Amazonian clay, so it really helps with controlling oil for people who are oily or combination. So it's really, really nice for those skin types. When you're dry, any cakiness, flakiness, this foundation looks horrible, in my opinion. Again, not on everyone, but majority of people who are dry, this foundation just does not work. It is clay-based, it has a dry down factor. When I was applying it to people, you could see the dry patches. It just does not go nicely on people with dry skin. I find more combination, oily is really nice. It does have a little bit of SPF 15 in it. I won't say that this foundation is completely matte, but it does have a little bit of a dry down factor, I would say. It has clay in it. Something I will say about this foundation, it's very long lasting. It sticks to your skin, which is really nice. I believe it's 12 hours that it claims, but that's enough for like a work shift, going out. So this foundation is really good for combination, normal, oily, but for dry or anything cakey, flaky, it's not going to look good. It just will catch on to everything. I actually had someone who just got off Accutane. Her face was so cleared up, so nice, but she was combination still. And I kept the foundation in the middle of her face. She had redness from where she had acne, so I just kept it in the middle of her face and blended it out, and it was so beautiful. But after that time, I didn't have any success stories with this foundation. So personally not my favorite, but works for different people. So next, I'm going to be talking about the Urban Decay Naked Skin. This foundation is very, very popular, especially for people who don't want to wear a lot of makeup, but just want that extra little bit of coverage. This was my personal favorite for those types of people. It's beautiful, the way it color corrects, but it doesn't cover too much. Very lightweight, but the way that it just evens out everything is like perfect. So I really love this foundation, and I loved using it on people who didn't want a lot of makeup. Same with the Makeup Forever Ultra HD, which is a little bit more coverage, but it doesn't cover, freckles. This foundation is super light, so you won't be feeling it on your face, which is really nice. I would say this foundation is more for dry, normal, combination skin types, but definitely not for oily people. It is slightly buildable, so you can put one layer on and then build a little bit more maybe on your cheeks, wherever you want, but it's not going to go crazy. It's still a really lightweight finish. The foundation claims to be a medium coverage, but I don't know who they think they are. It is light, but it's just fantastic the way it just color corrects everything and evens out your skin tone. But freckles, beauty marks, things like that will still show through. Such a good foundation. I love it. And I should buy it for like summer. This foundation is oil free, so if you are more oily, it's not going to look horrible, but I would still recommend other foundations over this one if you are truly oily. If your combination, it will look fine. This foundation is not long lasting, but it does fade beautifully. It just gets more natural looking as the day goes on, but if you're looking for something long lasting, this is not the foundation for you. Lastly, I'm going to talk about the Sephora collection foundation, because this is really popular, especially for people who don't want to spend a lot of money on the other foundations. So people usually go to this one. This one's still a really good foundation. It's full coverage, it's long lasting, and it's matte. It looks pretty nice on a lot of people. Nothing spectacular where it's like super hydrating, but it works. It does its job. You know, it's oil free, so it can work for oily skin. Doesn't add oil to your face. It's just all around good for foundation for an everyday person who just doesn't want to invest in like a more expensive brand. It evens everything else. It's really nice. But it is still matte, so it's gonna look a little bit drier on, you know, drier skin people, but it's not the worst thing in the world. But this foundation isn't anything special. It doesn't have like those extra benefits that other foundations have. I find like it's just like a everyday foundation. Like it's nothing crazy. With this foundation, you know, if you're really dry, it's probably gonna pick up the dry patches. It works. It does its job, which is nice. Okay guys, that's all I'm gonna go over for today. Those are the top foundations that I worked with at Sephora. I worked on probably like 30 to 50 faces a day, every day. So this is just what I've collected in my mind about these foundations. So I really hope that this video has helped you if you're having a hard time figuring out what foundations work for which people. I hope you enjoy your day, and I love you so much. You make me wanna throw my picture out the window. Tell MC I to cut the phone calls, break my lease so I can move. 'Cause you a bugaboo, a bugaboo. I wanna put your number on the call.